everyone. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to the Tinto Studio Focus. And it's just in time for the 20th year anniversary of Tinto. Yay! So before we begin, we're just going to share a quick video to share some of our work.
Who's ready to see our new house?
New house, new house.
And I'm part of the leadership team taking Tinto to its next chapter. And Tinto has been known for 20 years as being a premier European animation studio. But we're not here just to talk about the past, we're here to talk about the future. And it starts with a story of uncertainty, crisis, chaos, but above all, a lot of heart. So, as most of you guys know, Tinto filed for bankruptcy last year. And it was a race against time, not only to save the jobs, the team, the catalog, the 20 years of innovation and shows, but it was also to save the creative spirit of an iconic studio, especially in a time where there's a lot of studios that are going under. And so for us, this was a very important undertaking. Just 24 minutes before the deadline, we were the only company to submit a bid to save Tinto from full liquidation. Dun dun dun. So we saved over 90% of the team, 300 jobs, and we're back today to share that we're stronger than ever. And it's our team that's been so dedicated, showing up every day, dedicated to animation, dedicated to Tinto, the legacy, that have made this possible. So, thank you. Thank you. So we're not just rebuilding, we're reinventing. And we like to joke around that because it's a second chance, we have to call it Team 2. So, but with that, let me please introduce our amazing panel today. It's part of the core leadership team. Marco Balsamo, Tinto's president and CEO. Clelia Santi, Tinto's head of studios. And Jean-Baptiste Spieser, the head of R&D. And he's been with Tinto for 20 years, so he's been here since day one. So without further delay, we're going to jump into a panel with the leadership. So, Marco.
Sorry.
Okay. What exactly is your vision for this new chapter of Tinto?
The first thing we wanted to do is we needed to establish Teamto as being anti-fragile. We needed to be sustainable, we needed to be financially healthy, and especially during this time. Then we needed to instill confidence with our team, with our partners, our French broadcasters, and the new people that we met, and we're currently doing that now. And the ultimate goal is to really not just say that Teamto's back, but we're back in business, and we want to reestablish ourselves not only as a premier animation studio in France, but as a premier animation studio in the world that's well respected, and we just want to execute at a world-class standard.
Definitely. And how has navigating this transition of saving a company the size of Teamto from bankruptcy, how has that been?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It has not been easy. It has been difficult, to say the least. But when it comes to these types of acquisitions and these very delicate situations when it comes to bankruptcy and dealing with the French courts, it's not fun. It's not fun for anyone. But we were really fortunate enough that we were able to inherit such a wonderful team, not only of incredible professionals, but also just really good human beings. And I see Carol, and I just want to give her a big hug. So,
Go, Carol!
And Fanny as well.
Laura.
And Lenore and Bill and Chuck and everyone. So no, but we were really lucky because it's the team and Teamto that really made the difference and made that difficult acquisition really worthwhile. And even in the middle of the transition, we had 3 productions that were ongoing. We had Jade Armor Season 2, we had Angela Rule Season 6, and we had Creature Cases Chapter 5 that just came out on Netflix yesterday. So please check it out because we really want a Season 3, so we want that algorithm to go up. So check out Creature Cases. And we just have to be, I'm really thankful for the people that we met. We're the new faces on the block, and everyone we met in the industry has been so gracious and so kind to us and just welcomed us with open arms, so we're really appreciative of that. So thank you for the warm welcome as well.
Thank you for that answer. Hold your applause, we're not going to finish on time. So, Claudia, as the head of studios, how has the existing structure and pipeline supported this new direction?
Our pipeline is the key pillar of our efficiency. It's very flexible, very robust. It allows us to be adaptable for any project with any complexity or style. Creatively, we focused on building a dedicated team for each project. It's a human-focused and collaborative model that prioritizes a long-term partnership and creative collaboration. With your arrival, Marco and you has added a fresh momentum. As a leader, you were immediately aligned with our value, excellence, transparency, and deep respect for creative collaboration.
Thank you. On the note on values, Marco, we've been heard to say that this new Teamto stands for really 4 words: ambition, adventure, innovation, and collaboration. What is it about innovation and collaboration that are so paramount to the new identity of Teamto?
Collaboration is the heart of everything that we do. We honestly think it's one of the most important pillars of Teamto, especially in today's climate when budgets are tighter, green lights are coming few and far between. We want to work with everyone who's like-minded, and we're open, and we just want to make really cool stuff with really cool people. And collaboration for us is essential to that project. Regarding innovation, with technology and advancements that's been made, we really want to be at the forefront and protect the legacy that Teamto is well known for. And Teamto has always been an incredible animation company with technology at the helm of it, and we're really happy to announce that we're going to continue to invest in the innovation that Jean-Baptiste and his incredible team have been working on for the last 15 years, and that's also a very important facet of our business.
Awesome, that's a great transition to Jibe. So Jibe, you've been with Teamto for 20 years, leading R&D, and Teamto has been known as a pioneer of innovation for many, many years. What's really exciting is this new chapter of Teamto is tomorrow we're having a demo session revealing some really cool proprietary software as world premiere. can you give our audience today a sneak peek about Citrus Software?
Yeah, sure. Tomorrow, the fruits of a labor will be ripe and ready for picking. Citrus Software is a result of years of in-house research and development, now ready to go beyond TimeTow and benefits other studios as well. We'll be presenting Tangerine, our real-time animation software that significantly boosts performance while preserving creativity and freedom. And Yuzu, our production management platform that has been built to mirror the real pace and needs of a working studio. They've been at the heart of how we work, and now we are ready to share them.
So has this technology, been the reason why TimeTow has been able to elevate in producing faster, better, more efficient?
Well, they have been game changers. With Tangerine, your animators work faster without cutting corners. They stay fully focused, concentrated. They can animate in real time, no matter how many characters are in the scene, no matter how complex the scene is. And at the end of the day, you gain an increase of quota by up to 30%. So that's huge. And with Yuzu, you gain a real-time and deep insight into productions. It empowers you to make good decisions when it's still possible to make them, and like this you can reduce friction, you can not avoid challenges but anticipate challenges, and you can keep track of productions, both financially and creatively. It's fair to say that Tangerine is a booster and Yuzu is a compass, and I think you need both.
Thank you. But you mentioned real-time quite a few times. Can you explain what does that mean in animation?
Yeah, sure. So literally, real-time means that you get the info when you ask for it, when you need it. Or in animation, that means that as soon as an animator does something, interacts with the character, then the character is interacting with himself or herself. And basically that means that no matter how many characters you have in the scene again, you play the spacebar and it plays at 24 FPS, 24 images per second. This is real-time animation, this is what we do.
Awesome. I know we have a video showing both softwares, Tangerine and Yuzu. So can we please play the tech video?
Citrus Software presents our dedicated animation tool. Meet Tangerine, a real-time animation software. Designed to reduce production costs by up to 30%, Tangerine brings fresh efficiency to your pipeline. Supporting both 3D and 2.5D, Tangerine adapts to your needs. Built on 15 years of in-house R&D and over 70 hours of high-quality animation, we're just getting started. Our formula? Dedicated tools for artists, combined with unmatched performance. With feature film quality rigging, intuitive controls, smart reuse features, and seamless timeline scrubbing, Tangerine keeps animators in flow. Guaranteed 24 frames per second, even in the most complex scenes. No more waiting on play blasts. Real time is the new standard. Animate live with multiple characters and assets. Smooth, responsive, and immediate. Build massive scenes or populate entire crowds. No matter how many assets, performance never drops. Fully compatible with industry standard pipelines, Tangerine integrates effortlessly. No compromises required. Easy to learn. Onboard in 1 day, master in 1 week. Finally, animation software loved by animators and CFOs. Tangerine, real time, real performance. Schedule a demo today. Citrus Software presents our smart and fresh production management tool, Yuzu. Today's animation productions demand more. Tighter budgets, shorter timelines, and no room for error. What if you could deliver every project on time and on budget? Well, now you can. Meet Yuzu, the smart production system offering real-time visibility, predictive insight, and seamless coordination. With over 500 hours of animation managed and 100% on-time delivery, Yuzu is changing the game. How did we do this? We solved for every level of production: operational, tactical, and strategic. First, operational. Clarity for artists and coordinators. Live data, clean views, communication without the clutter. seamless integration in your pipeline, and relevant information at all times. In Yuzu, information isn't just accessible, it's actionable, ensuring every team member works with context, clarity, and confidence. Next up, tactical. Plan and manage with precision. Supervisors track tasks through live summaries and customizable dashboards. And finally, strategic. Confidence for executives. Make the right decisions early with clear foresight and predictive analytics. Model key production factors in real time so you always know where you stand and where you're heading. Teams feel empowered and everyone stays aligned. Yuzu fits right into your workflow. Just plug and play. One thing's for sure, if you use it, you'll love it. Start managing with confidence. Request your demo today.
Thank you guys, that's super cool. And tomorrow there's a live demo, right?
Live.
Yeah, so we're super excited. And there's one more thing that's going to be revealed tomorrow. So we're not revealing it now. But so JB, Yuzu and Tangerine together is what creates us up to 30% savings in animation production.
Yeah.
Okay. Clelia, so we heard from the technology side of things, but as the head of studios, from the production side for your team, your animators, managers, how has it been using these tools?
Our team loves working with this software because it's very to use and very intuitive. A new team member can be comfortable in learning in one day, master in 1 week. Yuzu helps us a lot to track our production progress. Tangerine optimize the quality of the animation and it helps the animator to be more efficient. So our main goal for our software is to optimize the production.
And what about for the clients? How do the clients feel about?
The clients are very comfortable also. They will be very confident on the production because it's advanced software and compatible with the existing industry.
Teamto is still a mid-sized studio. We're able to have multiple productions at the same time, up to even 500 animators. But it operates like a very close-knit boutique studio. What is it about this hands-on approach that helped build Teamto's strong and lasting relationships?
We are very proud of our boutique style. Most of our core team has been longer than 10 years, so we have very strong relationship together, like family. On top of that, we have a strong connection with the artists. Most of them who work with us want to come back. And we are very loyal, so there is strong bond between us. This trust and connection translate easily to our client and partner. We get the best possible result because our positive energy and touch reflect everything we do. Also, it's help that we've been around 20 years, so we prioritize the relationship to create an intimate community.
Definitely. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely does help to be 20 years in the industry, and it's a very small industry. So, but Marco, specifically, since the acquisition from bankruptcy last year, Teamto has evolved tremendously and very quickly. Exploring new genres, new styles, new audiences. What is it about? What is, I guess, the inspiration behind this expansion?
Yeah, Teamto has been at the forefront of CG animation for the last 20 years, and we kind of didn't want to be shoehorned into that exclusively, while CG is still going to be our bread and butter and our main focus. But we also thought, with the demand of more edgier content, with different styles, we thought it was a great opportunity to kind of expand our creative muscles. So we're happy to announce that we're also expanding into 2D animation, and we're also going to expand into adult animation in terms of original content. And we're really excited about that. So that was always the vision from day one.
Awesome. And so just to close out this panel, before our part two, is there any, I guess, the industry as a whole has been suffering a lot, as everyone knows, and considering that Tinto has a second chance to exist, what is your hope for the industry in general? Marco, we could begin with you.
Yeah, it's like the biggest elephant in the room is that we don't know what the animation industry is going to bring tomorrow, right? And companies are closing down, and artists and people don't have jobs, and we all have families to feed. And as cliche as this sounds, I really do think it's going to take a collective effort because at the end of the day, we need each other. You can't do animation without a team. But we're going to have to take a good look at ourselves in the mirror and kind of get together and say, like, what do we need to do to get out of this, as the collective, right? No tribalism, no ego, no, just really, we just need to work together in terms of figuring this out because the robots are not going to support us, the robots are not going to pay your bills, and they're not going to pay ours. So we really just need to come together, as kumbaya as that sounds, but I think that's what it's going to take. And I grew up, Spirited Away was my first film, and I knew when I was 8 or 7 years old that was I wanted to live in this world, and I want to safeguard our collective passion for animation for the next generation. And we're at a critical moment now, so we just do it together.
Thank you. Claudia?
For Tinto, our hope is to create and produce fabulous content. We've done it for 20 years, so we want to do it for 20 years more. And you give us a second chance, so we want to write a new chapter with you alongside the team. For the industry, my hope is to have more work for everyone and share our success together. It's important that we can create more opportunity, offer more work for everyone, and give a change for the new talent.
Definitely. Amen to that. JB?
Yes, it's definitely a rough time. But having lived through it, I can say this. Last December, you guys, you showed us that even in the darkest moment, there's always hope if there is courage. Courage to invest, courage to innovate, courage to keep producing. So my wish for the industry is that the entire industry finds its way forward across to that same courage, across the entire production chain, from platforms to studios, to artists, to schools, to students. We still have so many stories to tell and powerful images to bring to life together.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you guys. And really, we're like we mentioned in the beginning, this wouldn't have been possible without the team showing up every day, giving it their all, and your guys' commitment and love for animation and for this company. It's what really made the difference between the company surviving and now thriving versus dying. Yeah, right.
That rhymed.
I know, unintentionally.
Tara's also a rapper on Sundays.
So with that, I want to thank you guys, and yeah, so it's time to get to part 2. We got a good look at the core leadership taking Tinto into its next era, and so the second part, we want to share with you who's leading the creative. We have a big slate that we're really excited to share with you, and we're grateful that we have a few directors today to talk about a few of the projects. So we're going to share a video compilation of all the teasers together.
Peace and quiet. Good morning! Are they fighting? Shh! Don't scare them. Can I stay with you? Please, 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 please. You can stay, but just...
Are they biting?
Not yet. Shh!
What are you using for bait?
Shh!
Hey, what's up?
Shh!
Are is she using for bait?
I use cake, okay? Now, shh.
Oh, that's why there is a slice missing from the cake.
There's cake over there?
Yeah.
Cake? I love cake, especially chocolate. And vanilla, carrot, and pistachio. And strawberry!
Dad, I need help. I have no idea where I am. Look, maybe it's ancient Greece. It sorta looks like your mythology books. My phone's almost dead.
Why are you talking to that rock? Huh? What is that?
Ah! I'm a monster! Huh? Oh, Lemmy. Here. That's Lukey. She's a hero. Well, she's trying to be. And she says her dad is Hades. That bird keeps staring at me. Apparently it's a harpy. Dad, please get me home.
Come on, we have to go now before the Cyclops get us.
Cyclops? Dad!
Next Level Odyssey.
Who's ready to see our new house?
New house, new house.
And you, Arthur?
So hyped. That's the spirit.
New house, new house, new house.
We're here.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on, come on.
There it is. Our brand new, beautiful. Wow.
Awesome!
Homeowners detected.
Is that a biomolecular transdimensional portal?
No portals until we unpack, kids.
Hey, it's actually quite big.
In the shadows, it's a different game. It's a game of power. And only the strong control it. Untamed, Magian, Techio, Flex, and Tempest, 5 orbs. But one goal. Vamos, Santi! Welcome to Shadow Soccer.
What are we thinking? Left or right?
The right.
No way, Dave. The backlight's perfect when it's on the left.
What are you talking about, Maggie? The right.
Left.
The right.
Left.
Obey me, Mordor. How about we split it in the middle? Aren't you just so considerate, my Brazilian beefcake?
And we're live in 3, 2, 1.
Aspiring athletes, you two can be like my main man right here, the real Ripper, Egan Machado. Say hi, champ. Hi, champ. Off you go. Bye, champ. You see this guy here, Dana? This is your next superstar, right here. We're coming after that spray tan pretty boy, Volkov's title, and we're gonna take it hard. Go practice your spinal snap. Okay. Now you know, deep down in your soul, that you're the undisputed king of busting your ass when no one's looking. But somehow, everybody else is getting their shot, except you. Me?
Not you, Egan.
Come on, guys.
My name's Russell. I'm the founder of Prospective Talent Agency, LLC. And trust me when I say, nobody hustles like the Russell. So join us here, where prospects become big assets, and big assets become legends.
And cut.
Yebo, that's a wrap.
Great job, boss.
I'm gonna have to edit the crap out of this thing.
Speaking of raps, let's get the shawarma, bitches. Squad out!
Nobody speak, nobody get choked. Nobody speak, nobody get choked.
Budget.
They say that whoever controls Silk controls the galaxy. But those who would pervert this gift are threats to humanity's evolution. Such threats must be eliminated.
Who the hell are you?
I have a proposal. What if you were meant for more than a life addicted to Silk?
Maybe I like where I am.
Maybe you should think about giving your life to a cause that really matters. If you devote yourself to a path, you'll become greater than your pain. But only you can take the first step.
We have Didier Akun, who's the director of Next Level Odyssey. Sliman Anis, who's the director of Shadow Soccer. Terry Marchand, who's directing Home and Squad. And Jay Oliva, who's directing Infinity Paradise Lost. We did touch on What's Up Isha, however, both directors couldn't be here today. Academy nominated Loic Eshbun and Alban Rodriguez. So, Marco, just a quick question as a producer on this. Can you just give a quick look at what Isha is about?
Yeah, What's Up Isha is an adult psychological thriller where... No, it's What's Up Isha is a preschool 5211s about this adorable penguin named Isha who lives in this snowy tundra called Snowtop, and she loves to do things and create, and she has her own kind of interpersonal adventures that are often comically and adorably interrupted by her well-meaning friends. Yeah, so we're excited about this, and we hope to have more news soon.
Very soon. Okay, so Didier, Next Level Odyssey. It is such a fun and unique concept blending ancient Greece and modern day video game. So how do you want to first tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, yes, of course. So Next Level Odyssey is a story of Kiran. He's a Parisian teenager from today's world, and he's get teleported in the Greek mythology world by error. And so he's going to help Lucky, she's Hades' daughter, and she gonna help her, she has a mission and is gonna help her in her mission, and he's gonna help Odysseus get back home. So we'll find also a way to get back home. So I wanted to say that, you asked me how Greek mythology and video games are going to be used in this TV series. So I think Greek mythology doesn't have much to envy from modern video games. Both are packed with epic stakes, larger-than-life characters, and powerful emotions. So that's exactly what made the mix so exciting for us. But honestly, the video games element is just one layer of the concept. And what really drove me was the desire to tell a contemporary story, something that speaks to today's kid, while playfully reinventing mythology without the usual weight and solemnity it often carries. So my approach was simple. So instead of portraying gods and heroes as distant icons, I wanted to bring them down to earth. And what if actually they had everyday problems like insecurities and quirks just like us? That's where the comedy and emotional depth come in. And I think we are not doing yet another faithful adaptation of mythology. We are reimagining these characters to tell fresh, funny, and meaningful stories. And actually, after speaking with mythology experts, I felt a huge sense of relief because they told me that this approach is in fact deeply respectful of the mythological tradition itself. Back in the day, these stories were constantly reshaped, retold, and adapted by whoever was sharing them. And the versions that resonated the most with people are the ones that survive. So that's why for many mythological figures and characters, multiple versions still exist today. So in a way, we're just continuing that tradition, creating a new mythology for today's generation. So that's why in our series, Hades is an overprotective helicopter dad whose daughters live like the Kardashians in the underworld. Odysseus is a washed-up hero who still thinks he's cool and relevant. Think Thor in Avengers Endgame when he's a little bit out of shape. And also we have Aeolus, the god of wind. He has the worst hair imaginable because he's constantly messing with the weather. So he'd give anything just to have a decent haircut. So it's silly, it's emotional, it's very human, and hopefully make kids and even grown-ups curious to dive deeper into the real mythology.
Thank you. That was such an awesome answer. So we're gonna jump to home, Terry. So Terry, can you please share just a little bit, what is Home about?
Well, Home starts actually with a comic book that we all fell in love at Tinto, published by Dupuis and created by Spicert and Boris. And so as you've seen in the trailer, it's about, imagine you're a kid and you're about to discover the new house that you're going to move into. And as you're getting there, there is a massive intergalactic battle machine that crash lands on Earth and hides itself as an everyday suburban house. That very house that your family has no choice but to move into. So Homes is this idea, imagine big city greens crossed with Futurama, except in reverse, because this time the space robot is coming to our present. And the fun comes from the clash of those two worlds, the everyday life that still goes on, and all the crazy intergalactic chaos that is happening inside and outside of home.
Definitely, and I mean, you hit it on the head. The thing that's most interesting to me about this is, again, most sci-fi, you go outer space, but this, you're bringing sci-fi into the general everyday life.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very exciting to see. Is there anything on the balance of that you want to?
Well, I think this is the fun part about Home, is that it's such an absurd situation. That you are allowed to create all sorts of story, and the range of storytelling is very wide, because you can very much talk about the everyday challenges in the neighborhood, because the cadets have to hide the fact that they're living in alien robot house from the neighborhood because they start enjoying it and they've crossed a point where it's too late to say, hey, by the way, there's something coming, because it's like, and also they can save the universe because there is an intergalactic war happening somewhere unbeknownst to us. That home is attracting to Earth because he comes from outer space. So this wide range, to me, home is like a little bit like visually speaking as well. The art, the visual development was done by Olivier Platzer, our artistic director. And to me, home feels like a lemonade in a hot day of summer. It's acidic, it's fresh, it's uplifting, it's unexpected. As a child, I was always attracted to the idea of living in extraordinary places. So like a treehouse, a magical cloud, a custom-made moving box. And the concept of living in a home that was more than just a house always sparked my imagination. And I think home taps into that child's wonders by creating a sensational playground, basically, for us storyteller, and to create a place that kids can relate to and dream of.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, Sliman, Shadow Soccer, can you share? I know that actually you guys are getting the first preview, so you should be very happy because this is going to be actually released at Cartoon Forum, a final version. So, what little bit can you tell us on Shadow Soccer?
Oh yeah, little bit because it's all work in progress. So Shadow Soccer is 2D pre-teen animation series. It's inspired by Japanese animation, of course. I would say that we can describe this as a place where Avatar: The Last Airbender would meet a football game, and I would say with a bit of solo leveling also. I'm a huge fan of this show. On how the main character is getting stronger and stronger all along the series.
Thank you. And what excited you most when we approached you about directing this series?
Oh yeah, I was really excited because it's a shonen, and a shonen made in France. So I might be one of the biggest fans of this genre in France. So I was really excited to be part of this project. And yeah, also in the story, I really liked how, despite the fact that the characters have superpower, it's how the story keeps these really grounded into reality. So I really like the balance between the two sides of the story. So yeah, it's really cool.
And last question, what is your main inspiration when directing this teaser?
Oh yeah, my main inspiration, I have so much ref. I would say definitely Dragon Ball Z because of how in the trailer all these magical 2D FX turn around the main character. And yeah, I would like Naruto on how he moves, and definitely Haikyuu, Blue Lock on how he's playing football. So yeah.
Very cool. We're really excited about this. It's our first 2D series.
Yeah.
Kids series, there we go. Thank you. Back to Terry. So, Squad, this is crazy. It's our first 2D adult animated comedy series. This is a huge difference than Home. How do you feel about a huge difference? But how do you feel about the concept? And I know that you were also started in 2D, and then you went to 3D, and now it's back to 2D. Can you just give us a little bit?
Well, I'm quite happy that it's in 2D because there's a. It feels like I'm going back to my roots. This is how I started animation with 2D, and there is something very pleasant with 2D because you are way closer to the final look than with 3D, where you have a lot of, from an animatic to the final rendered image, you have a lot of steps and you have to guess and to have a vision and to hold on to it. With 2D, there's this joy about like drawing, and your drawing are gonna be almost on screen completely. You know? So there's this immediate pleasure with 2D that is very fresh to have back. So I'm happy to have both series. Like, be more serious about the 3D and then have more fun with the 2D. And yeah, this story, when you first pitched it to me, Marco, because he's the creator of the story, like, so he's responsible. But yeah, I like it very much because to me this is the story of a band of misfits who have big ambitions, who dream big, and who are trying to make them a reality, knowing very well that this is maybe the last shot before they have to conform to society, to what society is expecting of them. And the joy of those stories is in their relentless fight against the obstacle of life, and how sometimes cleverly they overcome them. And actually, to go back to Home as well, I think there is a storytelling connections with Home, or like a thread at least, because in both cases, you never really know what to expect next, whether it's a story twist or whether the reaction of the character are surprising you. And I find a bit of that as well in Squad. You know, there's this irrelevancy that I like very much as French.
Thank you. That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's about the fake it, make it is the imposter syndrome. And I guess I'll just throw this to Marco very quickly. Can you give a tiny overview about what it's about?
Squad is about these four, like Terry put it, misfits. We have Russell, Dave, Maggie, and Egan. And Egan, as you can tell, he's the guy in the back, also based off Egan Machado, who's a UFC legend. So for people like UFC, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Egan Machado is 18 fights in one day. He broke the record for most fights, and just Google him, it's really cool. But basically, they want to create a sports talent agency, and Egan is their golden goose. And it's set in the world of MMA, where we've been working with also Legacy Fighting Alliance, which is the feeder system to UFC, so they're also involved in this project. And it's, you know, it's a outrageous comedy that does have a lot of heart, and I think also Terry finds that perfect balance in terms of pushing the absurdity, but making you really fall in love with these characters. Yeah, and we're excited, and you'll hear more soon.
Thank you. That's Squad. Jay!
Hello.
Hey.
I don't know why you guys have me for last, because everybody had really good speeches, and I think I need to borrow your sheet so I can have some notes. So anyways, Greek mythology. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, Jay, so, hi, what is this? What is Infinity about?
So what's interesting is, prior to my involvement with Team Toe, I had brought Raid Shadow Legends Call of the Arbiter to Team Toe. Prior to that, they had only done preschool shows, Skylanders and a bunch of other shows. So that was the first kind of adult animation. And it was great because everybody at the studio like jumped on it. They all wanted to work on something that was very adult and people dying, heads blowing up, that kind of stuff. And so Infinity, when I brought this to them, it was kind of like what we had learned from the production of Call of the Arbiter. This is kind of 2.0. So the things that I was able to work with the team at Team Toe was kind of an evolved version of what we established with the Raid Shadow Legends. So in terms of Infinity, it's a cyberpunk future universe, science fiction, and I think it's based on a tabletop miniatures game that is kind of big. It's not as big as Warhammer 40k for Games Workshop, but it's a very fun system. And for all of you, I'm sure there's a lot of students and people who are working in animation here. In the US, we play a lot of tabletop miniature games at the studio, and we paint miniatures because, at least for me, I like to like zone out and just paint by numbers. So a lot of times what we had done is we would play miniature games like Games Workshop, or in this case, Infinity. And so in 2018, I was in the middle of doing Trece for Netflix. I reached out to the Spanish studio because it's based off of a Spanish IP, and I cold emailed them, their customer service. I said, "Hey, I'm a producer. I'd like to make a show off of this." And I got an email a week later, and it's one of the owners, and I got on a call with him, and he was like, "You want to make something off of our miniature game?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so I said, "I'll fly out to you, and I'll give you a pitch." So following week, I flew out. I gave them a pitch. They loved it, and then we developed the series together. So what you're seeing here is we developed. It's a 10-episode 22. And this was the pilot that we produced, and it's about this main character, Danya. And this is the fun fact about it. So I looked through the miniature range, and the miniature range is really cool, right? It's really cool designs. It's very manga inspired, very cyberpunk. And I found the most boring model I could find, and it was a medic, and it looked very boring. And I looked at this model, and I'm like, I have to tell this story. Like, what is the story of this character? And so that's where I came up with this backstory of this character, Danya, who grew up kind of she grew up in the streets, but it was one of those things I wanted to tell a story that's very aspirational, where she basically lived day to day, just surviving, and then she suddenly meets Kassad, this kind of assassin, very sexy assassin, who basically tells her that your destiny is what you make it. There's a path ahead of you. You can either continue living day to day, or you can go down another path and kind of find your true calling. And so that's what the story is about: is her kind of finding herself and finding and being thrust into situations where she kind of has to rise up to the occasion. I tried to make a story where you don't expect her to be the one that is going to kind of save the day, so for example. But through the course of the obstacles thrown in her way and the kind of trials she has to overcome, she eventually becomes the leader that she will eventually be led to. I need to look at this sheet better. So anyways, that's what Infinity is in a nutshell.
It feels like that is your sheet, because that was such a well thought out answer. So what would you say the main themes are of Infinity? Because it is very strong emotionally.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because I've been doing this for about 30 years, and I've worked everything from children's preschool all the way to adult, and I've done every kind of theme. But for this was it's almost like what Suleiman was talking about. Like, it's very shonen, where it's about someone who kind of goes from rags to riches, or they build themselves up. So I think the idea is it's the major theme was believe in yourself, and also loyalty. That's one of the things I wanted to kind of show off. And also in this universe, it's not really black and white where there's good guys and bad guys. It's a little bit shades of gray. But Danya, my main character, is navigating the morality of living, having such a life where she didn't really kind of see her self-worth, and then slowly kind of come into her own, and then realizing that her support crew that's around her is what ends up shaping who the woman she'll eventually be. And I think that's one of those kind of main themes I want to kind of show within the course of the series.
That's super exciting. I love this style. I love the look. I also know that it was done at a modest budget, and that's kind of also redefining adult animation. So can you share a tiny bit about that?
So I don't know if you guys know my backstory. So I've done a lot of Marvel and DC animated and live action stuff in the past. What's interesting, fun fact, when I did my animated films like Dark Knight Returns or Flashpoint Paradox, we had the same budget as Tom and Jerry and Scooby-Doo. Even though I cast 1,000 things blowing up, very more action oriented. So I always had to work within the budgets of what we had, because this is all that they would kind of work with. Now, moving forward, I have my own studio and working with Team Toe. one of the things that's good is that I can work directly with the animators and kind of find ways of making it look like it's really expensive, but it's not, right? And I think the idea is that as a director, and for those of you who are getting into the industry, is you have to have a vision. You have to know what you want. Because what happens is a lot of money is wasted in animation or in live action, for example, because nobody knows what they want. And the worst note I've ever gotten is, I'll know it when I see it. When I hear that, that's when I cringe because it just means it's going to be very bad. So normally when I approach a project, I already have something in my head. And it's usually something that I grew up with, like, you know, like for example, I did a series where I really loved Nobu Terayuki, right? I love his designs from Lotus War, very, you know, anime. And so whenever I do 2D stuff, I draw upon that because that's the kind of stuff that I love. So for you guys who are new or growing up into animation, it's okay to kind of do the things that you love. You know, I mean, this style and the rendering and everything are things that I've loved from, you know, live action films, animation, manga, all the things that I've kind of been influenced from, and I've put it into every show that I worked on. And I like to do things differently. Sometimes I'll do something that's more anime inspired, sometimes I'll do something a little more kind of very more traditional. But the idea is that as a director or as a producer, you have to know what you want and then be able to convey that to your team or the studio. And I know Clayler, whenever I have these crazy ideas and I show her, hey, I want to do this, and she's like, you know, this is expensive, Jay. I'm like, we'll find ways of working around that. And that's the thing, is you have to find creative ways around it, because ultimately you have to make it fit within the budget and the time. And a lot of times I produce these kind of high quality projects in the same amount of time as doing something that is much simpler or isn't as complicated. But that's also because as you work in animation, you practice, you get better and better over the years. And it's only at a point where, you know, I'm in a point in my career where I can tell what I want and be able to convey that, and also be able to like make subtle changes to the budget where, you know, like there's this pilot, I have like cast of thousands, there's so many incidentals, but a lot of it was repainting characters, putting helmets on them, you know, way I shot it, I put them in the background, put some atmospherics, lit it, so every shot in this show is lit for the shot. Normally when you do CG, you globally light it, like you create the environment, you set the lights, and that's how it looks. What I wanted it to do is really shoot it like a live action film, so every shot is lit like it's a live action film. We have fill light, bounce light, everything in every single shot, and it shows. And honestly, it doesn't really cost that much. You just have to plan for it. And that's where, again, with what we're trying to do with Team Toe moving forward is kind of up the quality, right? And try to really show that you can do high quality animation without breaking the budget.
Yeah, that's super evident, really. So with that, let's close out the creative panel. And do you guys, any closing thoughts on all of this? Jay, we could begin with you and come this way.
Thanks for coming, guys. I know that Team Toe has been around for a long time, and a lot of animators in France has worked under this roof, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoy working with the team there, and I feel like Team Toe in particular has managed their artists and their productions really well, and I look forward to the future.
Terry.
Something smart.
Whatever you want.
No, I just wanted to say that thanks for the very collaborative way of working on this project. I really feel that it was an open discussion with like creative minds, and that there was no hierarchy on the creation level, and that helped a lot. I think like being able to bounce crazy ideas. Remember some of the previous idea I had. You know,
we can't forget.
Yes,
I cannot see some of that.
But at least I appreciate the fact that you let me go loose a bit and go probably a bit too far before.
We could say there were things on screen that we needed to take out, and we made him get it out of the system, and then we took it back.
But yeah, so thank you a lot. I'm looking forward to continue working like that in the future.
I wanted to say exactly the same thing. So yeah. So no, but I won't take too much time. Yeah, so thank you so much for also opening this 2D fight to Team 2, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be part of this new adventure. Thank you so much. So I think there's not much thing to say. So meeting Tara and Marco, I feel we will share this vision for creating bold and modern projects that will reach the larger audience of today. So I'm really excited for this new collaboration and really excited to see what the new adventure takes us. Thank you very much.
Before we go, I just want to quickly say one thing. There's a lot of people behind us who work day in and day out, and people met their significant others at Team Toe. People had babies at Team Toe. It is a family, and I know, us three, we're 6 months in, but I just want to take a moment and I want to ask, because you guys deserve a little bit of spotlight. So Clelia, JB, Neri, Lenora, Bill, Chuck, Cesare, Fanny, Carol, Michaela, Marion, and Alp. But I'm sorry, I can't see because it's a lot bright. But if you could, Sabrina as well. If you could just stand up, and Chuck William. If you guys could just stand up, you guys really deserve a round of applause. And we want to thank you for all the questions. And thank you for sticking with Team Toe. Thank you for believing in us. And you guys are the reason why we're here today. So, Tara.
Thank you guys. We're back stronger than ever. The team is excited. Everything is really freaking cool, and we couldn't have done it without the team, without the support, the local support, the international support. So we're super excited for this new era, this new chapter of Team Toe. So to 20 more years.
Now go get lunch and get out of here, please. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, Champ.